Welcome to Workshop Wednesday, come on in. At the Rural Report, let the prepping begin. We'll teach you the skills you need to survive. Join our community, let's thrive and thrive. Gather around, don't be shy. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday, come on in. At the Rural Report, let the prepping begin. We'll teach you the skills you need to survive. Join our community, let's thrive and thrive. Gather around, don't be shy. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday, come on in. At the Rural Report, let the prepping begin. We'll teach you the skills you need to survive. Join our community, let's thrive and thrive. Gather around, don't be shy.
And we are live, but again, that's just what we're going to pretend because it is YouTube and the internets, and so we believe everything that we see, and so we're just going to roll with it. Welcome in, everybody. I am Rural 2IC, joined by, yes, you can't see him, but he is right here, Cluck Norris, the tactical squish chicken, and tonight is another edition of Workshop Wednesday, where a bunch of the greatest, smartest, most awesome people in the world come and hang out in the chat, and we just kind of see where everything goes. I've got a little bit more of a kind of some topics and things that we're going to roll over for tonight. I think you guys will enjoy. I did put up a post over on the community board. It is a poll. If anybody has not seen it, I would encourage you to go over there and check that out because it does have something to do with the channel, and we'll roll from there. So for anybody that is new here, welcome in. It is awesome to see you and have you here. Say hello, and everybody in the chat will be more than happy to greet you properly. Everybody else, you guys know what to do. Sit down, take your shoes off, get comfortable, because we're going to be here for a little while as we go through and talk and have some fun, and we'll see what happens tonight. So let's go through and do a little bit of a roll call and see who all is here. Scott, great to see you, my friend. JS Genesis Designs, nice to have you here. KP, dropping in. Rabbit is here as well. Heavens Fire, howdy, great to see you. My man OVP, no guest tonight. Only Cluck Norris is here with me. Who else do we got in here? Let's see. It's right, I gave away 5 memberships because YouTube lets me give away some. Little Lone Prepper, great to have you here tonight. Texas Raider, great to have you here. Scott's the first one to do the super chat. I figured I would do the little super chat goal thing. We'll see how it all goes. If I get 10 super chats by the end of the hour before I go offline, then next Workshop Wednesday, I'm going to provide a mystery one-item giveaway. So it's a little incentive for you guys to jump on in. But let's see who else is here. Looks like Brooklyn Girl is here. Great to see you. Billy, nice to have you here, ma'am. I meant to text you today. I completely forgot. Forgive me. Tiger is here. Hello, Tiger. Steel and Tree is here as well, joining us. Demo Man, great to have you here tonight. Dana Let's Prep, good evening. Great to have you here. And for anybody else who is lurking, I am sorry that you did not say hello in chat, but I don't want to forget you. So hello, good evening, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. And for anybody that could not be here and is on hashtag replay crew, it is great that you could come back and watch after the show. Life be lifing, and I understand not everybody can come in. So Tammy Joe, I see you snuck in here. Rob, what's going on? Let's see, anybody else? Looks like everybody's just going through and saying their hellos and highs and whatnot. So while you guys all do that, go ahead and get comfy. I will be popping back and forth between chat and whatnot. But tonight, I want to talk about some top prepping mistakes. And we'll do a little bit of an interactive one. So the very, very first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about water. and specifically not prepping enough water. So let's do the first question in the chat, which is put a 1 for yes and 2 for no. Do you think you have enough water? If the balloon went up and SHTF happened tonight at midnight, and it is a long term, let's say 6 months to a year, do you have enough water to last you and everybody in your household for the next 6 months to a year? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Dana's first saying 1. That's awesome. Water is extremely difficult, so I'm curious to see. I would probably be 1.5. I think I'm pretty close, but I don't know if I quite would be able to confidently say that I would. JS says 1, Tammy says 2, Texas says 2, Tiger says 2. So we got a little bit of a mixed crowd. Billy says 2. Mistake letting the wrong peeps know what you have and the skills you possess. Rabbit, we're going to be getting to that. Scott says 2. And Susan, great to see you here. She says 1. Brooklyn says 2 and needs to work on it. Heaven's Fire says 2. That's right. So, when it comes to water, water is kind of like air and food. It's something that is essential for life. And a lot of people, they forget that it's not just water. When you talk about water, you've got clean water, you've got gray water, you've got drinking water, and each of those have their own thing that you are going to do with them, right? They're all unique things. Some water you're going to cook with, you're going to wash dishes, you're going to wash clothes. Some things you're going to bathe in, and some you're going to brush your teeth. There's a lot of different things that water is going to be used for, and to be able to use the appropriate level of water, right? Because a lot of times you're going to use time, energy, and resources to take, let's just say, some creek water or pond water and do some sort of cleaning or filtration. And it takes time and energy to collect it. And sometimes it takes resources to filter it and get it to a certain stage to where you're going to use this, because what you may wash your clothes with may not be drinkable water. So we don't want to be making every single drop of water that we collect drinkable, because it's kind of a waste of time and energy and things like that. So it's something that I want you guys to kind of put on your radar. Water can become extremely problematic. It is something that you absolutely have to have. Please do not fall into that trap of 1 gallon of water per person per day. That is short term, right? That's something happens and you're only going to go 3 to 5 days. Yeah, short term, 1 gallon, you can suffer through it. But when you are talking about long term survival, to be able to do hygiene, flush toilets, clean, bathe, cook, drink, all that stuff, you need probably a minimum of 3 to 5 gallons per person per day. And that's a lot of water, right? Especially when we're talking 6 months. You guys want to do the math on that. You might as well just plan on putting an Olympic sized swimming pool in the backyard, right? So it's very hard. It's bulky. It's heavy. There's a lot with water. Please don't sleep on water. That's just one of the big things. So number 2. The next thing I want to do is do not fall into the trap. And we'll go ahead and do this interactive too. Let me know, 1, if you do this, or 2, if you do not. Rely completely on the internet for information. What do you guys think? Do you guys have alternative sources for information? Scott, thank you so much. That is awesome. Thank you. Heaven's Fire, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Let's see. So 1, tell us 1 for a yes, that you get every single piece of information off the internet, or 2, you get it through word of mouth. You go to classes and training groups, you read books or magazines or something like that. There's a lot of people that do completely get their entire repertoire of information straight from the internet and internet only. We got 2, 2, 2. Everybody's saying 2. That is awesome. Many other sources. Excellent. Well, everybody's saying 2. Good. I was hoping you guys would do a lot of 2s on this one. So that is a good thing. We won't spend too much time on that. But yes, please do your research. Find people that you trust. Some of these things you can do trial and error and whatnot, but do not get stuff, especially with AI and things like that. Find alternative ways to check and double check and things like that. So, next thing I want to talk about, people only prep for one disaster. And more specifically, prep for one kind of disaster. And there's a lot of new preppers that fall for this. And so what happens is they go through life and everything's all hunky dory, right? You just click on Amazon, or you do this or you do that, and everything's right at your fingertips. It's all fast and convenient. And then all of a sudden there's a flood, or some sort of an event that happens, and it wakes them up a little bit. And so what do? They start prepping for the next flood. Well, yes, that's great. At least you got your foot in the door and you're starting to prep. But the only thing is, though, is there's many other things. And it's not just natural disasters. It's a death in the family. That's an illness in the family. That's injuries, whether it's to yourself or for family. That's a job loss. There's economic, there's financial, there's all sorts of SHTF events, whether it's personal or regional, or maybe it's just your neighbor's house caught on fire and it kind of destroyed a little bit of your house. Maybe sickness came through and wiped out most of your livestock. There's just a whole bunch of different things, right? Disasters and SHTF events, they can happen to anybody at any given time. They are not prejudiced. They don't care how old you are. They don't care if you're man or woman. They don't care if life's going good or if you're already in bad times and whatnot. So make sure that you are doing the best that you can of prepping for what is most probable, and then you can move on to what's possible, right? We want to make sure that we're addressing the things that could happen to us or probably will happen to us before we start prepping for aliens and zombie invasions. So just one of the things that I make sure that you guys are prepared for. Next thing that I want to talk about is that people get into the supplies rather than skills. And I think for you guys, we'll skip on the interactive part on this one, because nobody, I don't care who you are, you're not going to deny that supplies and having just a huge and abundant, great variety makes things a lot easier, right? For a lot of us, especially starting a fire, yes, can I rub two sticks together? Can I take some char cloth? Can I do a bunch of different methods? It's absolutely, I can. But if I've got a good book of matches, I'm going to use that first because it's convenient and it's proven. And so, yes, I'm going to gather supplies, but what's most important is the skills, because anytime that those supplies get lost, stolen, broken, damaged, anything along the lines, they are supplies. They are a tool, and that is all they are. Whether that's a firearm, whether that's a medical device, whatever it is a handheld, man-made object that can and will go bad at some point in time. And having the skill, the know-how, the knowledge, that is something that is paramount, right? So make sure that you learn how to do the absolute off-grid skills, but don't sleep on the supplies as well. Just because you went through and you've mastered how to use flint and steel, and you've mastered how to do friction fires and all that, great. That is awesome. But make sure you still know how to flick your bic or how to strike a match, right? Just because it is there doesn't mean that we need to snub our nose at it. We can use modern conveniences, but we want to make sure that we are building the skills necessary. So let's go back to interactive here. And let's say when it comes to hygiene, do you think, 1 for yes and 2 for no, is hygiene important? Do you think that having a level of hygiene during SHTF is going to be an important factor? Gigi, great to see you. Welcome in. Let's see. Old grouchy guy, great to have you here. Canajon is here as well. KP, I think I said hi to you. If not, then hello again. Susan's here. What is good? That's right. Start with probable and expand from there. Absolutely. Dana says one, Tiger says one, Billy says two. Got more ones, more ones. Critical. There we go. 100%. Ones, 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 two. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with saying that it is extremely important because you've got to keep your stuff clean, right? Hygiene goes along with sanitation. You're talking about your health. And once your health deteriorates, even if you have the best medicine and the best doctor and everything in your mag, you don't want illnesses going around. You definitely don't want to get the plague and things like that. So, depending on what it is, maybe the SHTF is a fire. There's a lot of different things about trying to keep things clean. If you get floods, being able to know how to, uh, you know, get rid of mold and things like that. You don't want to be dealing with any of this stuff. So, hygiene, being able to keep body odor down, keep dirt off things, keep wounds clean, and things like that. It's just one of those things that if you can, this is a good time to stock up a lot of these items like soap, shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste. A lot of the stuff's very, very cheap to stock up on. I know that money can be very big of an issue for people. So prepping on a budget is huge. A lot of this stuff you can go and get, at dollar stores right now, still for pretty cheap, even if you're just getting one thing of soap, toothpaste, and toothbrush a month, right? If you can just put a couple back, they go a long way. And if you ever are in need of them, because it's like your toothbrush, it ain't going to go bad, right? You store it properly. That thing, it's up there for a good long while, and it's one of them things. It's good bartering item. You get somebody that hasn't been able to brush their teeth in 2 months, and you can go, hey, I've got an extra one of these. So don't sleep on hygiene and sanitation and things like that. The ability to keep your area clean. If you have a temporary domicile, you still got to keep it clean, right? We've got to do what we've got to do because we don't want to get sickness and things like that. We're already in SHTF. We don't want to make it worse. So next thing was people make the mistake of not having a backup plan or two or even three, right? Um, that's where that whole kind of golden rule when it comes to prepping: two is one is none. A lot of people will come through, they get really hyped up, and so they make a plan when it comes to preparedness, and then there's no backup plan, and then there's no backup plan to that plan, and there's no backup plan to the other plan, and that leads to basically what you are doing when you do your new year's resolutions, right? You have a great idea, you have good intentions, but it just kind of fizzles out, or you run into a roadblock or a problem or an issue, and you don't have a backup plan, right? And so that leads to a lot of frustrations, and a lot of people give up and walk away. And it shouldn't be like that, right? It's kind of like painting. The prep work is the most important part, right? Making sure the walls are wiped down, things are taped off, paint stirred, you got all your supplies laid out, because then you can just start painting when it comes time, right? You've already did all the prep work. So when it comes to preparedness, make a plan, then make another plan and another plan, because once things get rolling, you need to learn how to pivot, right? You do this roadblock, pivot to plan number two. Something else happens, pivot to plan number three. Something happens, pivot back to number one. To have those backup plans and to make sure you have the right mindset, right? We want to make sure that as we go through and we are doing our plans, when we start out, we have to be determined, we have to be committed. When you go in, you need to have the mindset that there is no giving up, right? Failure is not an option. Yes, I might stumble. Yes, I might fall down, but I have light at the end of the tunnel. I am determined to get from point A to point B. And so, yes, there's going to be a hurdle that I'm not going to clear. I just need to come up with another alternative, right? Too many people go through and they have nasty mindsets. They see a roadblock, they see something, or they stumble, they trip, they fall, and then they struggle to get back up, and it can turn south from there, right? We don't want to get into a comfort zone. We want to always keep pushing and pressing and making, our situations better. And sometimes, you hit that. You hit one of those things where life just really throws that weird, funky curveball, and you stumble and you fall down, and sometimes you stay down for a little bit, right? Sometimes it's not just a quick bounce back. Sometimes you're stuck in that funk for a week or 2 weeks. Sometimes it's 6 months. Sometimes it's a couple years. And you just kind of fell in a hole, and it's up to you on how you're going to get yourself back out. You can give up and be comfortable and just stay in the hole, but I would much prefer that I'm going to get back out of the hole. So next thing is going to be, and we'll go back to chat, is going to be doing drills and training. One for yes in chat and two for no. Do you do drills? Do you do any training at all? Period. Do you run fire drills at all? Do you run bug out drills? Do you run firearms drills? Do you run medical drills? Do you do any sort of training or drills at all? Period. I want to know. Anthony, great to see you here. Nice to have you drop in chat. So I'm just curious. I want to see what you guys have to say. One, do you guys in chat press number one if you guys do any sort of drills, training, any of that, or two, you do not. So we've got 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So good. A lot more of you guys are saying one. That's kind of what I was hoping for. MF Gulf Coast, great to see you. Sea Wolf, nice to have you here. Live the life, so it's drills daily. There you go. That's right. Yeah, there's an awful lot in here. Robert Ham, great to have you here. Let's see. All right, so good. So there's a lot more of you guys out there that is doing the drills and the training. So we won't go too much into it, but it's a lot of the things that you can do, because when you are talking about a major catastrophe, you're going to fall back to your level of training, and you can do things really easy, right? Maybe if you are going camping, take your bug out bag with you. If you're doing any sort of traveling whatsoever, try a different route, right? Try taking a different route than what you're used to, or try doing, different things, so that way you can kind of change things up. Try turning the power off in your house for 24 hours or the whole weekend or something, right? Put yourself to the test. Practice things like evacuations, do different fire drills, tornado drills, different things like that. It's just one of those things that you never know what's going to happen. If you live in an earthquake zone, do an earthquake drill. If you live in a forest fire or any sort of anything like along those lines, do those drills, and just make sure that everybody kind of knows exactly what's going on. Let's pop into food for a second. So the next one that I see is people will have a very limited variety of food. So what I'm talking about when it comes to this is not necessarily, they have 2 or 3 different items. It's the kind. So yes, you want the beans and the rice and things like that, but a lot of people, they go into preparedness and they start buying a bunch of freeze dried food. And that's great, right? I mean, freeze dried food definitely has its place, but here's my thing. You are not going to want to live on a very long-term SHTF on freeze dried alone. It's probably not in your normal diet. It should be. If you have the available funds to where you are buying freeze dried foods, MREs, or any of that stuff in bulk, I highly encourage you to start taking some of that out and once or twice a week eating some of it. One, it's going to give you rotation. Two, it's going to get into your routine diet. It's going to allow your body to realize that, hey, I'm going to be eating some of this, and it's definitely something that you want to do now. I see a lot of people make the mistake where they'll buy one of them nice big buckets, and that's perfect. But they've never tried it, right? They don't even know if they like it. They don't know if they know how to make it. They don't know if the contents in the bucket is even any good, because they haven't cracked the seal on the bucket in the first place. So make sure you have variety. So basically, it's shelf stable, non-perishable foods. Really good things is, it's the stuff of like getting honey. It's things like that. It's canning your own stuff. There's a lot of very good shelf stable things that last for over a year or a couple of years, and you don't need electricity, once it's canned. And you can do raw ingredient to where you're doing, one of this and one of this, and then you pull a couple of cans out and make something. Or you can do entire meal cans. Either way, it's up to you. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but trust me, it's going to be one of the things that having a good meal that you enjoy eating that tastes good, not only is it going to give you the energy and the nutrients and the things that your body absolutely needs, but usually, and this is going to be a rural saying, a full belly is a happy belly. And it's going to be one of those that morale is going to be a very important thing when it comes to SHTF. So moving on, I'm going to say that a lot of you have pets. Thank you, Scott. Do you guys prep for your pets? If you have a pet, tell me, do you prep for your pet? 1, yes. 2, no. Drop it in chat. So when it comes to your pets, do you do the things that you need? Do you have extra leashes, collars? Do you have extra medications for them? Do you have toys? Do you have bowls? Do you have food? Do you have the things that you need for your pets? Do you prepare for SHTF that your pet is going to do just fine with you? Let's see what everybody's got to say. So we've got a 1, 0 for no pets. I get it. We got another 1, 1. Excellent. Number one. Lots of ones. Everybody's saying 1. Grace, good to see you. Nice to have you in chat tonight. Lots of 1, 0 no pets. Lots of 1s. Perfect. So nobody said 2. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I would be very, very sad and heartbroken if somebody had an animal and was not, planning on taking care of the animal, right? That animal did not come to you, knock on the door, and say, "Hey, please take care of me." You went and chose the pet, right? So if you take that responsibility, I'd hope that each and every one of you takes that very seriously and is going to prep for your pet. So we won't spend too much time on it. You guys seem to all know what you're doing. So let's skip on and let's talk about the next item for this. Now, the next one for me, I know that money is a very big thing right now. Money for whatever, the love of money is a very evil and corrupt thing. I've constantly said this, that if you cannot be happy with $100 left over in the bank, you will not be happy with $10,000 left over in the bank, right? You've got to learn to live within your means. You've got to learn to live and be happy with what you have. This is first world problems. We are hugely blessed, right? You can be in a single 1-room studio apartment on the 10th floor in downtown major metropolis city, whatever. The thing is you probably have heat, you probably have air conditioning, you have a refrigerator, you've got running water, you've got a flushing toilet, you've got clothes, you've got a bed. uh yes, do you have what other people have that make 6-7 figures? No, probably not. But you have a lot more than a ton of people on the planet. And so many people will go through and they will, they're literally praying with tears in their eyes, begging to have what you have. So always be thankful, always be blessed. Never ever let money be the cause of coming in between you and anybody else. Money should never ever become a problem. If it does, then it's probably something that we need to take a step back and do some soul reflections. But caveat, one of the problems I see in preparedness is people being too cheap. While, yes, I am a huge proponent that you do not have to have the highest end products and supplies and gear, and that you can be frugal and you do not have to go through and, spend to get the biggest and shiniest, most expensive name brand items. There is certain instances where we do not want to cheap out, right? Getting something like the absolute cheapest multi-tool, probably not a good idea. Getting something like the absolute cheapest tourniquet, probably not a good idea, right? There is instances where we need to pay the extra few dollars. If our life is going to depend on it, especially when it comes to medical gear, we probably should invest, because if somebody's life's going to depend on it, we need to make sure that that initial investment is good. We do not want to have somebody that is a loved one, basically in our arms, and they are probably not going to make it. And the last thing that you do as they take their last and final struggling breath is go, crap, I should have spent the extra $5, right? We don't want to make that mistake. So, Southern Dave, great to have you. Fuzzy Adventures, nice to see you here. So make sure that, yes, do your shopping, do your research, look around, try and do what you can. It's okay to save money, right? We can buy secondhand stuff. We can do a lot of different things. But what we want to do is make sure that when it comes to certain items, we are not doing the absolute cheapest, because in the end, it's actually going to cost lives. So next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be not putting your gear to the test. There's a lot of people out there, right? They made the mistake and they ran out, and they didn't listen to the last thing that we talked about. So they paid absolute top dollar for some piece of equipment or gear, and they were so excited they didn't do the research. And now they have it. It's new, it's shiny, it's in the box. They threw it up on the shelf. They're so proud of it. But there's a few things wrong, right? They didn't test it. They didn't get it out of the box, and they didn't baptize it in the dirt. And so the next thing you know, one, they have no idea if it's broken. Two, they have no idea how to even use it, right? So always, 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 if it's possible, right? Get your item out and actually use it. Now, some of it you cannot, and I fully understand that. You're not going to go buy three Sawyer minis or Life Straws and test each one of them. But if you have the opportunity that you bought three Life Straws, pull one of them things out and actually use it, right? We want to make sure that we have something in our hands that A, we know how it works, B, we know that it works. It's not broken. It's not, boxed incorrectly. There's no internal damages. We be able to see if there's maintenance that is required. Maybe there's pieces that we can buy that maybe we can do a field repair or things like that. But if you leave that thing in the box, it's going to be a huge mistake. We want to get it out. We want to assemble it. We want to practice with it. We want to make sure that everything is in good working order. So it's definitely something that I think a lot of people seem to miss when it comes to that. So here's one that we're going to go back into chat for. So one of the things that I see, and especially in new preppers, is they stock food, right? We're going to stack food to the rafters. So they buy a whole bunch. They make an Aldi run, or they make a Sam's Club run, or whatever. They go buy flats and flats of canned food, and the next thing you know, they've got a pantry full, and then they forget about it. Have you ever done that? One for yes, two for no. Have you went out and stocked up on a ton of food, and then you didn't go back through and check on it, right? You didn't rotate your food. Curious to see if anything, if anybody says one or two when it comes to that. I will be the first. I will say that starting out, I've done that. And every once in a while, I do it now, right? Something happens to fall to the back or gets shoved to the back, and the next thing you know, it's way back there, and it's 8 years old or whatever. It happens, right? I'm human. I do my best not to do it. I do my best to rotate my food and things like that. So we got 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Wow, you guys really are being symmetrical, aren't you? I did when I first started too. Yes, yep. It's one of those, right? Yeah, it's a very common mistake. You get obsessed over getting, amassing a huge stash and just getting everything, and you're so devoted to doing what all the mainstream prepping thing is, right? I want my food to touch the floor and the ceiling at the same time, and they're not doing their due diligence and rotating and things like that. And so you end up wasting a lot of money. You waste food. You get things where they're spoiled, and it's just a bad thing. So always follow the FIFO. Yes, you heard that right. first in, first out, right? So we want to make sure that as we are doing it, your stuff slides forward, new stuff goes in the back. So that way, or we are doing a rotation. Do what you need to do. If you need to put colored dots on them, do that. You need to do Sharpie on them, do that. Find out what works for you, so that way you're not wasting time, money, energy, resources, and you're not wasting food, right? There are people out there that are hungry, and I know first world problems. You worked really hard and bought that 50-cent can of beef stew or whatever. We still don't want it to go to waste, right? We want to make sure that we are using what we buy, because that 50 cents adds up throughout, and that could go towards something. So let's move on. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this is another new thing, but I do see this from time to time with some of the intermediates and whatnot. They concentrate completely on SHTF, right? People get some sort of an event, they get completely focused in, and the next thing that you know, they live, breathe, eat, sleep SHTF. And that's a huge mistake, right? We only are blessed by God to have life. It is a miracle that we wake up every day. And it's one of the things that we need to make sure that we're living our lives the best that we can. Um, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have good days and bad days. But you figure out what your meaning of life is. Money is not the meaning of life. Traveling around the world is not meaning of life. Having fame or anything like that. I mean, you pick out what your definition is. For me, as long as I am surrounded by my family, and I'm doing my job to do the things for my family, and I have, the people that I care about, that we're all in good working order and things like that. Memories is life, right? So you need to make sure that at the end of the day, the people that you care about, they're happy with you, you're happy with them. uh, the world will do what the world's going to do. We are not going to be able to go solve the world's problems. The world's going to go up in flames, have crises, whatever. You're not stopping the meteorite hitting the planet. You're not stopping the sun doing its thing. You're not stopping the global economic markets. It's just not going to happen. But that's why we prepare on a personal level and on a family level, so that way, if it ever comes, we're prepared as best as we can be. But we don't need to focus solely, right? We want to make sure that we're there for the kids and the grandkids, and we want to prep like nothing is going to happen. We have the backup plans, right? We just talked about that not too long ago. But what we want to do is we want to build continuously, better ourselves, constantly improving, because what we want to do is get to that point that if nothing happens, right, the world is still spinning. When it's our time, that we pass the torch, we pass that baton on to our kids or grandkids or whatever, and that they pick up that piece and they carry it on. They carry that legacy, they carry the traditions, the morals, the values, and they continue to improve and better, right? That's how a lot of this stuff is made. That's where you see these families that have a couple hundred or 1,000 acres or whatever. It's bit by bit as generations go on. They seem to know what to do. Now it's constantly downsizing and seeing who can get the most tiny house and the most modern of conveniences. If that's you, great. But that's not life for me. So next is going to be one that I'm curious to see if you guys, what you think of it. My thing that I wanted to put on the list is getting rid of things that can be used for bartering. So let me know, have you guys ever got rid of something that you could have used if it was SHTF, that you could have bartered? It was one of the things that you go, man, I've never used this, but I think it's time to get rid of it. But now that you look back on it, if SHTF happened, you could have traded it. You could have bartered with it. You could have got something you needed for something that you definitely did not need, right? You donated it, you sold it, you gave it away, you threw it away, whatever. but that could have came in handy, right? Curious to know if you guys ever made that mistake. I know for me, there's been a few times where I just pick something up. I'm doing spring cleaning. I'm cleaning out the garage. I look at it and I just kind of roll my eyes and I toss it in the trash can, or I put it in the box and off it goes. And then a month or two later, I need it. Well, I think we've all been there. And you shake your head, or maybe one of your friends, relatives, or neighbors go, "Hey, do you have one of these things?" Like, "Oh, nope, I just got rid of it." And it kind of makes you wonder on some of that. Yes, I know prepping is a fine line between hoarding, uh, but we can't hold on to everything. I know that for me, I am somewhat of a pack rat of sorts. I'm trying not to be. I'm heavily trying to do some cleaning out right now. Wish me luck on that, by the way. But it's one of those. If you already have it, then sometimes it actually is worth keeping on to, just because it is something that you can trade, you can barter, and it'll become way more valuable. If something was to come on, would it be a good idea to keep 13 refrigerators in your garage? No, probably not. But if there's some small items, maybe you got a couple of pocket knives or whatever, and you bought a really nice one, so you're going to get rid of your other ones, maybe keep one or two extra, right? So just some ideas there that I wanted to throw out, so that way you guys kind of look at a few things. Next thing that I want to touch on is people that either somebody new moves in or you move somewhere new and you are unfamiliar with your neighbors. It is a big thing, right? To at least go over and say hi, to put a face with who is going to be next door, right? Wherever you live, there you live right there. Now, whether you live in an apartment and they live across the hall, whether you live in the suburbs and they're on the other side of the fence, or you're in the country and they're half a mile down the road, they're still a neighbor, right? And yes, you don't really sometimes get a choice of your neighbor. You could have a crappy neighbor, you can have a good neighbor, but the best way to find out is to go over there and say hi. So let's see in chat. Let me know. One, do you know your neighbors? Two, nope, you have no idea who your neighbors are. To see what you guys think, what you guys say. For me, I know my neighbors. I know most of my neighbors. Um, just want to see if if you guys are going through and are you going and meeting your neighbors? Are you shaking hands with your neighbors? Do you know their first name, or at least some part of their name? Do you know your neighbors? We got a one, we got a one, lots of one, one, one. Ooh, we got a two, got one, one. 1.5. Troy, great to have you here tonight. None of my neighbors speak English, and I don't speak. Oh, that's awesome. Got another 1.5. Okay, okay. Depends on what neighborhood. Okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, there's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, they either want to be antisocial or whatever, and they just they don't want to go neighbors. Your neighbors could actually be very good. You might be one of the people that talk them into becoming more prepared and things like that, and then they become more of an asset instead of a liability. So, for me, I want to go over there. I want to know if my neighbors are shady or if they're generally good people or somewhere in between. The only way to do that is to go over there, because I need to know if something happens, can I use them strategically to my advantage, or do I need to get as far away from them as possible? Are they potential home invaders, or can I trade and barter with them? Do they have a skill that I need? Things like that. So it's a good idea. So the next thing is storing everything in one place. Do you put all your eggs in one basket, right? When it comes to SHTF, hopefully you guys don't. Hopefully not all of your preps are in the basement. Hopefully they're not all in the garage. Even if you do not believe in caches, maybe you don't have a bug out location, whatever. hopefully not every piece of gear, gadget, and supply you have is in one single place. You can be creative, right? You can put some of it in your car, you can put some of it at work. You can put some at a friend's house, right? Relative's house, put some in the basement, some in the garage, put some in the closet. Um, Go through and try and diversify where you're storing your stuff. Just because you never know when disaster strikes, you may not be able to get to that place, right? So we want to make sure that we are being smart about it because you never know where SHTF is going to strike and where you're going to be. If all your stuff's in the basement and you're at work, that's not going to be a good thing, right? And if you're on vacation and you decided I'm not taking my supplies with me because I'm on vacation, have fun, right? I mean, you could be sitting there eating your favorite steak dinner and SHTF could strike. Do you have your EDC on you? All right. So it's one of those two. Yes, it's great to have a pantry, right? I have a pantry, but I don't have all my food in the pantry. Just because if something is to happen to my pantry, I still want to have food. So it's again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. There is things that you can do. You can store them with friends, family, neighbors. You can put them in the garage, the shed. You can bury something in the backyard if you want to, or put it in a trash can, seal it up, and put it back by the fence line. You can do all sorts of stuff, but it's essential backup supplies. If disaster strikes and it takes out your pantry, do you have food, right? Can you still eat while you're trying to figure out what to do about your pantry? There's a lot of people I think go through and they make that mistakes. They put all their eggs in one basket, and it's not a good idea. You can have all the food in the world, all the water in the world, all the medical stuff in the world, but if your world is depending on one cabinet, if something happens to that cabinet, I don't know where you're going to be, right? So let's go into the next thing. And I think we've all been here. And I'm going to see a bunch of ones in the chat. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. When you first built your bag, your bug out bag, your EDC bag, your get home bag, your whatever bag it is, did you overload it? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Did you, the first time you put a bag together, did you overload your bag? Did you put way too much crap in that thing? I want to see. I am curious, and if somebody says two, you're a better person than I am. But I think just about every single person on the planet makes that mistake. I have been constantly updating my bag for over probably a decade, and it is constantly evolving, constantly changing. It is constant. I don't have the same exact bag I did 10 years ago. I don't have the same exact bag as I did 5 years ago. I am constantly learning and everything. So it looks like 1 times 10. Rabid says 2. Oh, man. We got some 2. Gigi says 2. Oh, look at that. Mine was like 60 pounds. Grace. No. It goes a lot about by your body weight for the most part. You want to have, especially if you're doing like an inch bag, and I'm never coming home bag. You don't want to exceed 40% of your body weight. And ma'am, I know that 60 pounds is nowhere near. So yes, I get that. I did it too. I think my first bug out bag was probably closer to 75 or 80 pounds because I thought I needed everything under the sun. My EDC bag is probably one of the smallest single strap sling bags that there is. And there's still room to put stuff in there. Once you've been doing it for a while, you start realizing that you can put one thing in there that solves 2, 3, 5, 10 problems. You start realizing you don't need 50 of one thing. There's a lot that you start learning as you go. Life is all about experiences. It's about trial and error. It's about learning life lessons. And that's one of them, right? We're going to all make mistakes. We're going to feed off each other. And so we can help each other, right? Anybody that's new that has never built a bag, look at a bunch of the people that went through and put one, right? We all makes. I don't care if you watch another prepping channel that's got 100,000 plus subscribers. Ask them in chat, send them an email. Was it overloaded? And I guarantee they will say yes, because we've all been there. Um, for me, most of my life is trial and error. No clue, right? I have great intentions, but I've got to try it. And if I fail, then I fail and I pick up the pieces and I try again and I keep trying and I keep trying. And I either figure it out or I ask for help or, something. But I'm still standing, I'm still breathing. So obviously, I seem to be doing something right. I think a lot of that is by grace and God, but it is what it is. I'm counting it as a win. I woke up on the right side of the dirt, and so praise be to Him that my trial and error method is still going strong. So let's go with that. Where are we at on time? Excellent, excellent. Just reading through everything. Oh, Billy, good night. Good night. Great to have you. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to hit on one more thing, and then I'm just going to jump in chat for the last little bit of everything. So the last thing I want to do is kind of some prepping etiquette. And this is a mistake that I think a lot of people need to kind of hear, because sometimes people do it without realizing what they're doing. And most of the time, people do. But what I'm talking about is armchair prepping, right? You've heard the term armchair quarterback. That's where you get a 300-pound guy with his feet up. His t-shirt can't cover his beer gut, and he's got Cheeto dust and all that stuff. And he's going to tell whatever sports ball guy that he could have made that pass, right? Yeah, well, there's a lot of that in the prepping sphere, and it's sad to see, because you will have people, especially a lot of these small and medium channels, they're putting out really great content, and then they want to come in there into the chat on a live stream or onto videos or whatever, and they want to throw their 2 cents in, and sometimes that's just not warranted, right? If it's legitimate help, absolutely, right? If you are legitimately doing something, but there's a lot of people out there that they are not being constructively criticizing. They are doing it out of what basically for me is malice. We've got to watch what we're doing, especially when it comes to the internet and being on uh, a public stage. There's other people that's going to come in there, um, and they're going to read it, and they don't want any part of drama. They don't want to have it to where somebody comes off as rude or anything along those lines. I'm not saying that you can't joke or you keep up for yourself, but we've got to watch the people that um, just jump in there and just want to be a know-it-all, right? They just want to say, well, you should do it like this. Half the time I want to jump back at them and go, all right, well, then you post a video, right? You go ahead and prove your words. Because most of the time they don't have a channel and they have no proof, they have no receipts. My guess is that they probably learned that off TikTok and they have no clue what they're talking about. So at least for me, and I know with most of the content creators out there, you have a sense of responsibility. There's people that follow and like what you are doing, and they're here to learn. And that comes with a sense of responsibility that I'm not going to put something out that I don't believe in or I do not do myself. So for me, I have absolutely no problem saying I don't know. Um, and it's just one of those things. It's a humbling feeling to know that I don't know everything, because I am a lifelong student. But you watch other people, right? Now that I've said this, if you haven't seen it, you'll probably start seeing it everywhere. For the rest of you, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So let's see. Pretty sure the feds are watching. Probably. I've probably been on a ton of lists, but yes, 2-minute warning time for the Cluck Norris jokes. That's right, or Chuck Norris. Well, you can probably joke about Cluck Norris too. Not all of us know how to make popcorn and coffee at the plug out. Okay, I was maybe showing off a little bit, but if you have the skills and you have the talent to be able to do SHTF popcorn and off-grid coffee, Yeah, I've been able to do that. So Chuck Norris used to wash his clothes in the ocean, but it was caused too many tsunamis. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, that's oh, I tell you what, I've missed some of the Chuck Norris jokes. You guys seem to know exactly what the Chuck Norris jokes do at the very end of everything. Chuck Norris makes popcorn with his bare hands. Oh, good stuff. Apocalypse popcorn for the win. Yes, 100%. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're surrounded by a bunch of off-gridders. A huge storm is rolling through, and what do? You have popcorn, right? That's what a lot of this is. When it comes to preparedness, you don't want to be scared. You don't want to be stressed. You don't want to be panicking. For me, I was so calm and collected and at peace that there was nothing else but to make popcorn. So, question: have bug out bags for your dogs, or do not put anything in them. Keep them unencumbered and ready for action if out on the road. That's an interesting question. Honestly, I would say it depends on the dog and what you are putting on them. Obviously, if you have a Chihuahua versus a Saint Bernard, the Saint Bernard putting 5 pounds on him, he's not going to care. Putting 5 pounds on a Chihuahua is probably not a good idea. It's going to depend on the breed. It's going to depend on the characteristics. It's going to depend on what you're doing. Obviously, if you have a bigger dog that doesn't mind it, having them carry their own supplies is a good thing, right? It's taking that load off you, and it's keeping that with them, and it's not really a bad idea. But again, it's what it is. If you have a dog that's trained, maybe you don't want them to be impeded by having equipment and things dangling off of them, or having it to where that's going to get snagged on it or anything like that. Whatever it is, I'd make sure you train with it. If you plan on putting some sort of bag or something on your animal, I would maybe once a week take them for a walk and get them used to it, right? Make sure that they can maneuver and do the things that they need to do, because you don't want to put things in there and the next thing you know, the dog's rolling around in the mud and you realize that the stitching is not really good and all that. We goes right back to what you talked about: test your gear, um, and do drills. So if you're going to put a bag on there, put it on the dog, test it out, run drills with it, take the dog out for a walk, let throw a ball, see if the dog can run with it, right? Make sure that the strapping's good, the zippers are good, the things in there, is it quiet or is it all jingle jangling around and everybody for a mile is going to hear everything? So great question. Hopefully that helps. I'll end up carrying the dog. Everything my pup eat is on the homestead. Nice. Nice. That's a cat. That's because she is a princess. That's right. Big Dog has a pack for all four for the mini Yorkies. Get to ride in the stroller. Well, sometimes you just got to ride in styles, right? So excellent stuff. All right. Good deal. All right. So we've reached the end of the hour. This is one of the first times that we have gone an hour. And so I greatly appreciate it for you guys going through and hanging out. Um, Before I do my closing, I do want to say that this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, uh, Grit and Grace asked me to come over and do a part two. So I will be over there on her channel. Grace, if you're still in here, if you do not mind, would you please drop a link to your live stream for this Saturday so that way people can click on it and get the reminder? Um, or if anybody else that has the blue shield, if you do not mind to go over there to her channel and grab that link. But I will be over there and we will be doing a part two on her series. So a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good education and things like that. The last live stream that we did has over 100 views. So it's really good info, really fun. you'll learn a lot and things like that. So hopefully I see a bunch of you guys out over there for this Saturday. So for everybody else, thank you so much. And I greatly appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to come and do Workshop Wednesday. And I can't stress enough. I keep growing in subwise. I want to do some new things. I've got a lot of things in the works. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So, for what it is, um, it's just absolutely amazing that you guys want to come over and hang out and do the things, and you guys are you're awesome. So I greatly appreciate it. And without you guys, then I'm just sitting here talking to myself, and who knows on all that. So OVP, thank you so much. Scott, thank you so much for sharing the link. There's the link for this Saturday. Hopefully you guys will come over and hang out and all of that fun stuff. Scott, thank you. Texas, thank you. That is awesome. Come over and say hi to Grace and give her some support. She is growing exponentially fast because it's an amazing channel over there. And I'm just honored and blessed that she chose me to come over and show my ugly face and do all the things. So, but again, everybody, thank you so much. I will be back next week. I will do the same sort of goal on the super chats. And if we reach 10 super chats during a live stream, then I will be doing a giveaway. It's a new thing that I'm going to try and start to try and get everybody engaged and whatnot. So, but that's what we've got for tonight. So, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed tonight. And with that, I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed night. And I will see you next week. Same time, same place. I will see you Saturday on Grace's Live, and then over actually on my channel on Sunday for 0 hours. So with that, guys, remember, remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.